the GOAT.
Did he play last night?
You can't be the GOAT if you can't beat that guy.
Really?
You can't be the GOAT.
Well, all he did was win Super Bowl MVP, and his record is stellar as a starter. He had a bad game last night, and he got hurt.
Another one?
You know what? I want to talk about the NBA because we are awaiting the bombshell news that Rondo signs with the Clippers so we can start the countdown clock to a championship. I'm not going to do that. No.
Yeah, I mean, we're
That's
starting
what we
the
are
show
awaiting.
by
Actually going to Atlanta.
taking down the Vikings. Come on, Shannon, give them some love for that win. But yes, Skip is right. We actually have to get to some NBA news around here on Undisputed. So let's get to it. James Harden has reportedly turned down a 2-year extension with the Rockets that would have made him the first player in NBA history to earn $50 million per year. Harden has apparently made it clear to ownership his goal now is to force a trade to join up with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving in Brooklyn. However, Harden is still under contract until at least 2022, so Houston has no incentive to take any bad deal in exchange for the former MVP. Shannon, there's a lot here. How does this play out?
Well, Skip, well, kind of James Harden has him over a barrel. Skip, they moved heaven and earth to get Russell Westbrook, so they traded Chris Paul and gave up first-round draft picks to get Russ. So they don't really have a whole lot. And so now James Harden, because you built the roster around James Harden, and James Harden wants out. So when you turn down $50 million, Skip, what has happened is that your top players, you know, back in the day, back in the 80s, only a handful of guys, maybe Jordan, Bird, had shoe deals. Skip, now you got the top 10 guys got shoe deals, which allows them to say, nah, I ain't taking that, bro. I want to go here, get me here, or else. Now, as Jenny read, they are no obligation because they got him for 3 more years, Skip. So they got him. It's not like, okay, well, I'm going to sign it after next year. I'm going to play this year out, and I'm going to bounce. No. Then they still have him 2 more years after that. But because he seems to have he wants out so bad, and Houston is starting to disassemble. They traded Robert Covington. Russ says, I want out. Now, you're not going to get the compensation back that you gave up to get Russ. Now, I'm looking at Milwaukee and what they got for True Holiday. Oh, Skip, I'm going to need me about 7, 8 first-round picks. I'm going to need me about 4 or 5. Skip, if True Holiday can get basically what Anthony Davis got, what you think Houston's going to want for James Harden? James Harden's the top 3 or 4 player in all the NBA. And so I'm going to want this kind of compensation. I don't know what Tillman Fertitta thought. I don't know, Skip, if he said, you know what, hey, there's a new sheriff in town, and I'm going to do things my way. Don't do things your way. The NBA is different than any other sport, Skip. When you make moves, coaching the players, you better talk to your top player or your top 2 players, or this is how it's going to end. The report is that he didn't run anything by James Harden. The moves that he was making, he didn't run that by Harden. Harden wasn't having it. He says, I see everybody else. I see LeBron James. I see Giannis. I see Steph Curry. I see Brown. I see KD. All of them get situations run by them. I'm equal to. Skip, I don't know how this is going to play out because Kyrie and James Harden, and what's going to start to happen, you see now, I'm reading the papers and I see all the headlines, should KD want to play with James Harden? Kyrie said, wait a goddamn minute. It was my idea to begin with, and now y'all already done cut me out before the man get here. Skip, you see what's brewing on the horizon. James Harden, they're going to have to move him. He's causing too big of a stink already. Now, they don't have to, but I believe they will move him, and I'm going to want a king's ransom. I'm going to want the players, the Allen, the Jared Allen, the Spencer Dinwiddie, the Karis LeVert, and give me about 4 first-round picks. Because True Holiday got 3 first-round picks and 2 players.
Yep. Okay, you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
All right, my turn. First of all, I dispute your contention that James Harden has the Rockets over a barrel. I believe the Rockets now have the whole league over a barrel, including James Harden, because the signal was, as you point out, the Robert Covington trade said to me, NBA, we are starting over.
Right.
So they're going to look for an exit for Russell Westbrook, and I have no idea what that is. I don't know how you get out from under that. That's going to be much harder to do than the flip side of this, which is the James Harden trade.
That was my point.
Is,
you're not going to get back for Russ what you gave up to get him.
No way.
You got CP3. You gave up CP3, but you get Russ, and you gave up two draft picks.
Okay, so now it looks like it's going to be an all-out auction for James Harden.
Yes.
So the Rockets will say, come one, come all, what you got? And James Harden, as we know, he hasn't been a winning basketball player, but he has been a revolutionary basketball player.
He's been box office.
He is huge box office. When he plays, I watch.
Yes.
Even more than Russell Westbrook.
Absolutely. Yeah.
When James Harden plays, I know it could be 50, it could be 60, it could be 40 free throws. It could be something I have never seen before.
Right.
And he's still writing. He's in his prime at 31. He's played 11 years, so he's starting to creep toward the backside of his career. But does he have another couple of MVP caliber? You better believe he does. So it's rare that a player like this comes on the open market via trade. This isn't free agency, obviously. So all of a sudden, everybody's going to come with their best shot.
Right.
And somebody might come with a better shot than the Nets. So then it will come down to how much clout does James Harden have, because they got him under contract.
Right.
And can he force his way to the Nets? Not really.
Not really.
No, I mean, he can try. He can say, I won't be happy there, and we'll see how much power he actually has. Right. But there might come up a better situation where he says, ooh, I kind of like that.
But Skip, if you look at the landscape, the Nets have the best package. Or is the Heat, what are the Heat willing to give up? The Heat not giving up Bam. They're not giving up Tyler Hero to get James Harden.
Knowing Pat Riley the way I do, I would never underestimate what he will come up with.
Skip, he's not giving up Bam. He's not giving up Bam. Skip, I'm not.
Okay, I got it, because he's become the heart and soul of your whole franchise.
The Nets got the best package.
But listen, James Harden, he is a big difference maker. I realize he doesn't have much to show for himself in the postseason. Yeah. And I realize he has come up smaller and smaller in the postseason. But he is so gifted. He is such a talent. He is so rare that he just doesn't come along very often to be available.
No.
Okay, so Nets, they have a lot of pieces they can give up. They might have to give up about 2/3 of their roster.
Yes. And you should be willing to, because like you said, these guys don't come available often.
They don't. Okay, so let's deal with the hypothetical. We mentioned it yesterday at the end of the show because we weren't sure about it, but now it sounds like James has said, I am not going to sign a $50 million deal to stay here, an extension.
Yeah.
I want to go there. It's been widely reported he really wants to join forces with KD and Kyrie. Now, let's do the hypothetical. How would it work? So I slept on it last night, and I tried to think, okay, could it work? Well, if I ran the Nets, I would try to make it work because it's just so rare you get this kind of firepower. Yeah. Okay, so what are we dealing with here?
Maybe never.
Maybe never. Well, I mean, obviously.
KD and LeBron, but Skip, James Harden is average 36 year before, 34 last year. He's a walking 30 points. And I'd rather watch him play than Russell has made the triple-double obsolete. But at least when I'm watching James Harden, I'm thinking, is he going to get me 60 tonight? Is he? Because that's the expectation. He get 35, you're like, man, James, you losing it.
Okay, so we would throw together 3 players who have James Harden, 1 MVP, and 8 All-Stars. Yeah, that's a lot. KD has an MVP. It's back in 2014, but he's made 10 All-Star teams. And by the way, James has finished second 3 times and third once in the MVP. So he's right at the top year after year after year. And Kevin has finished second 3 times in the MVP race. Kyrie hasn't even registered on the MVP race, not one time, but he's 6 All-Stars, and he's got something James does not have. He's got a ring. And obviously, KD has 2 rings and 2 finals MVPs. So Kyrie can say, well, we're on equal footing because I made a shot that won a championship.
But they're not on equal footing.
Okay, I got it. I got it. But here's the clash that's going to start to happen. You have a coach who's a first-timer. He's never coached anywhere in his life than Steve Nash. And you have a KD and a Kyrie who said, what was it, like 3-4 weeks ago? We don't really need a coach. You don't?
I might coach, KD might coach.
Yeah. Okay, well, if somehow you do add James Harden to this mix, you don't just need a coach. You need a referee. You need a policeman. You need somebody, right? A therapist. You need somebody to come in and rule over this, because one basketball for three people